A very warm welcome. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Now, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is on a two-day visit to China. And here's why this visit matters. Among other world leaders, Sharif will be the first head of state to felicitate Xi Jinping since he secured a record third term. The symbolism is a clear sign of close strategic ties between Beijing and Islamabad. In fact, the Pak Prime Minister has hailed the friendship between the two nations. This in an op-ed titled Pakistan-China Friendship, a sacred tale of abiding trust and love. The article has been published in China's state-run Global Times. If the tone and tenor of Sharif's article is anything to go by, Islamabad has high expectations from Beijing. For starters, the two nations are going ahead with a much-delayed rail line connecting Karachi to Peshawar in Pakistan. The railway link is a $10 billion project under China's ambitious CPEC, one that India has raised strong objections to, primarily because it passes through the contentious Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Now, it should be noted that Sharif's visit comes at a time when Pakistan is cash-strapped and is making all efforts to arrange billions of dollars. Only so it can repay its debt, bridge trade deficit and perhaps save a crisis similar to Sri Lanka's. But is China willing to loosen purse strings? And to what extent? China intends to tread cautiously, and here's why. Last week, the Sino-Pak Joint Coordination Committee agreed to begin construction of the rail line that's joining Karachi and Peshawar. MOUs for this are expected to be signed during the current visit of Shehbaz Sharif to China. But more importantly, the Pakistani delegation is expected to request the Chinese government to roll over deposits. They also expect China to reschedule debts worth some $27 billion. Whether Xi Jinping will agree to Sharif's requests remains to be seen. Analysts are skeptical. Now, you may want to ask why. Firstly, Pakistan already owes China a huge debt, one that it's unable to pay. According to an IMF report, Pakistan's debt owed to China is thrice more than what it owes the IMF. It is also more than what it owes the World Bank or even the Asian Development Bank. To quote figures, as per the IMF, Islamabad's non-Paris Club debt stands at $27 billion. And out of this $27 billion, Pakistan owes China $23 billion. That, by the way, is roughly 85% of the total non-Paris Club debt that Pak owes China. In fact, Pakistan owes another $10.7 billion to Paris Club countries. The huge international debts amid rising inflation and the aftermath of enormous destruction caused by the floods are all factors that are sinking Pakistan's economy. And that's why Beijing is worried. Not just because Pakistan is unable to repay Chinese loans, but also because of China's own economic situation, which is getting worse. So much so, the IMF's July figures for China's GDP for 2022 showed the slowest growth in 4 decades. Understandably, World Bank statistics indicate a 40% fall in the volume of Chinese loans. But Pakistan remains a prominent recipient of these loans, perhaps because Pak's Gwadar port remains a crucial sea route alternative for China's imports. But the security situation in Gwadar and Balochistan has left China unhappy, especially after recurring attacks on the Chinese in Pakistan. In fact, in his article in Global Times, Sharif has said that Pak protection to the Chinese is his top priority. But will the Pak Prime Minister be able to convince Xi Jinping to release more Chinese funding? Perhaps not, simply because the delay in CPEC projects has led to cost overruns and worry among Chinese investors. And that's why extending more loans to Pakistan is a risk China cannot afford.